Good afternoon, everyone. I'm ROSAURO DOCTOLERO, together with REANNE COLAR, and we're about to discuss the approaches to the school curriculum. And this would be the desired learning outcomes. First, describe the different approaches to the school curriculum. Next, explain by examples and how the approaches clarify the definition of the curriculum. And the last one is reflect on how the three approaches interrelate to each other.
So we come now to the three ways of approaching a curriculum. Curriculum can be approached or seen in three ways. It can be defined as a content, a process, or an outcome. If you examine the definitions provided by the experts in the field, there are three ways of approaching a curriculum. First is to approach its content or a body of knowledge to be transmitted. Second is to approach as its product or learning outcomes desired of a learners. Third is to approach it as a process or it actually happens in the classroom when the curriculum is practiced.
From the various definition, we realize that curriculum is viewed in many ways. Let us look back and use the definition as way of classifying how the curriculum is viewed this lesson. Let us look at the curriculum as either a content, a process, a product to fully understand the different perspectives of what curriculum is all about. So this can be one way of approaching a curriculum.
Curriculum as a content or a body of knowledge. It is quite common for traditionalists to equate a curriculum to a topic outline, subject matter, or concepts to be included in the syllabus or books. For example, a primary school mathematics curriculum consists of topics on addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, distance, weight, and many more. Another example is in secondary school science that involves the study of biological science, physical science, environmental science, and earth science.
Curriculum content simply refers to the entirety of what is to be taught in a school system, and it is the method by which things are transferred or delivered to learners using the most effective ways available. The significant facts, principles, and concepts to be taught are referred to as a content component of the teaching learning situation. The likelihood of the teaching will be limited acquisition of facts, principle, and concept of a subject matter. However, the content can also be taken means as to an end. There are four ways of presenting the content in the curriculum. First, the topical approach. So, in this method, the curriculum designer uses a specific topic as a central theme throughout all the instructions and concepts. A given topic is introduced in one lesson and completed in another. A topic is complete collection of materials about a certain subject's topic. Next is the concept approach. So it is a curriculum design strategy that stresses big ideas that span numerous topic areas or disciplines rather than the subject specific information. So the third one is thematic approach. So it is the instruction is powerful tool for integrating the curriculum and eliminating the isolated and reductionist aspect of teaching. So it is a manner of teaching and learning in which several areas of the curriculum are connected and integrated within a team. It enables for more natural learning rather than fragmented character of classroom activities. And the last one is the modular approach. So it is a new way of thinking about education that moves away from traditional methods of instruction toward an outcome-based learning paradigm. So modularization is the process of breaking down a curriculum into small discrete modules or units and are self-contained, non-sequential, and often short in duration. So we come now to the criteria and the selection of content. The first is significant.
Significance. Content should contribute to ideas, concepts, principles, and generalization that should attain the overall purpose of the curriculum. It is significant if content becomes the means of developing cognitive, affective, or psychomotor skills of the learner. As education is a way of preserving culture, content will be significant when this will address the cultural context of the learners.
So it is the subject matter content is chosen organized to create learning activities, abilities, processes, and attitude. So it is significant. It also helps improves the three learning domains of cognitive, emotional, and psychomotor skills.
Next is validity. The authenticity of the subject matters from its validity. Knowledge becomes obsolete when the fast-changing times. Thus, there is a need for a validity check and verification at a regular interval because content which may be valid in its original form may not continue to be valid in the current times.
So the next one is validity. So the term validity relates to the truthfulness of the subject matter or information you choose. Make sure the topics aren't out of date. For instance, list typewriting as a talent that college students should learn. It has something to do with computers or information technologies.
Utility. Usefulness of the content in the curriculum is relative to the learners who are going to use this. Utility can be relative to time. It may have been useful in the past, but may not be useful now or in the future. Questions like, will I use this in my future job? Will it add meaning to my life as a lifelong learner? Or, or will be the subject matter be useful in solving current concerns?
So the third one is utility. So another factor is the contents or subject's utility. Students believe that a subject or a set of subject is not important for them to learn. They think it's pointless. As a result, they don't bother to go to school.
The fourth one is learnability. The complexity of the content should be within the range of experiences of the learners. This is based on the psychological principles of learning. Appropriate organization of content, standards, and sequencing of contents are two basic principles that would influence learnability.
So the fourth one is the learnability. So the subject matter or material must fit into the learner's schema. It should be something they've done before. Teachers should use learning psychology theories to understand how subjects are presented, ordered, and organized such that students' learning potential is maximized.
Feasibility. Can the subject content be learned within the time allowed? Resources available? Expertise of the teachers and the nature of the learners? Are there contents learning which can be learned beyond the formal teaching learning engagement? Are there opportunities provided to learn this?
And the fifth one is the feasibility. So the term feasibility refers to the subject's complete implementation. It should take into account the actual condition at the school, as well as government and society in general. Students must learn within the allotted and with the tools available to them. Don't offer them a topic that they can finish. For instance, you only have 1 week to finish the lesson, while the children, they may need a month to complete the exercises. As a result, this requirement is unattainable.
Interest. Will the learners take interest in the content? Why? Are the contents meaningful? What value will be the contents have in the present and the future life of the learners? Interest is one of the driving forces for students to learn better.
And the last one is the interest. So the learner-centered curriculum meets this requirement. Students learn best when the subject matters is engaging to them, as it gives it purpose. So we come now to the guide in the selection of the content in the curriculum. Number one, commonly used in the daily life. Number two, the appropriate to the maturity levels and the abilities of the learners. Number three, valuable in meeting the needs and the competencies of the future career. Number four, related to the other subject, fields or discipline for complementation and integration. Number five, important in the transfer of learning to other disciplines.
So we come now to the fundamentals principles for curriculum contents. Palma in 1952 proposed that the contents in the curriculum should be guided by the balance, articulation, sequence, integration, and continuity. However, in designing a curriculum contents, Hankins and Ornstein 2018 added an important element which is scope. Hence, from the basics to basic, initials of balance, articulation, sequence, integration, and continuity.
So now, let me introduce to you my co-reporter, Miss Rian Magalona Colar, to discuss the guides in the selection of the content in the curriculum.
So, balance. Content should be fairly distributed in the deep and brief. This will be guaranteed that significant content should be covered to avoid too much or too little of the contents needed within the allocation. So, the term balance refers to the fact that the curriculum is evenly spread over the whole learning area or the discipline. The elementary school curriculum is quite well balanced. As a result, even though the number of the competencies isn't the same every quarter. This does not mean that they aren't evenly distributed. Instead, the competencies are budgeted based on the number of the days spent teaching each topic, which is the proportional to the number of days spent grading. Articulation. As the content complexity progresses with the educational levels, vertically or horizontally across the same discipline, smooth connection or bridging should be provided. This will assure no gaps or overlaps in the content. Seamlessness in the contents is desired and can be assured if there is articulation in the curriculum. Thus, there 15 a need of team among writers and implementers of curriculum. So the articulation is the smooth linkage of the subject matters is referred to as articulation. The basic curriculum subjects are inextricably linked. The former is linked to the latter in some way. As a result, review is encouraged as a part of the learning process in order to strengthen and deepen the relationship between the subject matter and the children's understanding of it. So, sequence. The logical arrangement of the content refers to the sequence or order. These can be done vertically from deepening the content or horizontally for broadening the same content. In the both ways, the pattern usually is from easy to complex, what is known to the unknown, what is current to something in the future. So, sequence, this is the logical arrangement of the subject matters based on observation and experience. The subject matters are logically arranged from easy to difficult, basic to complex. So some of the topics learning areas like HKC, science and math are actually arranged from where the student can find a closer to connection to themselves and experience so that they can easily relate to it. Integration. The content in the curriculum does not stand alone or in isolation. It has some ways or relatedness or connectedness into another content. Content should be infused in other disciplines whenever possible. This will provide a holistic or unified view or curriculum instead of segmentation. Contents which can be integrated to other disciplines acquire in a higher premium than we isolated. So the integration, this is the horizontal connections in subject areas. Well, this is actually encouraged. The fact is that there is our subject matters that can be integrated in other subject area, like the integration of values in all subject areas, the integration of science and math concept in teaching English and HKC, and MSEP concept in teaching Filipino. Continuity. Content with a view as a curriculum should continuously flow as it was before, to where it is now and where it will be in the future. It should be perennial. It endures time. Content may not be in the same form and substance as seen in the past since changes and developments in curriculum occur. Constant repetition, reinforcement, and enhancement of the content are all elements of continuity. So, continuity refers to the constant repetition, review, and reinforcement of learning. Meaning, a lesson should not stop after evaluation. It has to be repeated through review and reinforcement. Thus, this is the principle in the elementary curriculum. We even targeted that the learning in school should be applicable and applied to the daily life. So, the last one is scope. The breadth and depth of the curriculum content are vital in a curriculum. Scope consists of all the contents, topics, learning experiences comprising the curriculum. In layman's term, scope refers to the coverage. The scope shall consider the cognitive level, affective domain, and psychomotor skill in identifying the contents. Other factor will be considered, but caution is given to overloading of contents. More contents is not always better. So to be effective, curricula must be comprehensive in scope and providing learning experience, specifically designed to support children at various levels of the development. A scope can be a helpful tool that education staff use to plan learning experiences tailored to children's ages and developmental levels. It helps staff look ahead to see where development is going and intentionally scaffold their learnings.
So we come now to curriculum as process. So curriculum happens in the classroom as the questions and asked by the teachers and learning activities engaged by the students. It's also a process of the teaching and learning process becomes the central concern of the teaching to emphasize the critical thinking meaning, and making a hands-on doing, and many others. So there are ways of teaching, ways of manage the content, guiding learning strategies, and teaching or delivery modes.
To teachers, the process is very critical. This is the other side of the coin. Instruction, implementation, teaching. These three words connote the process in the curriculum. When educators ask teachers, what curriculum are you using? Some of the answers will be number 1, problem-based, number 2, hands-on, minds-on, number 3, cooperative learning, number 4, blended curriculum, number 5, online, number 6, case-based, and many more. When curriculum is approached as process, guiding principles are presented. Number 1, curriculum process in the form of teaching method or strategies are means to achieve the end. Number 2, there is no single best process or method. Its effectiveness will depend on desired learning outcomes, the learners, support, materials, and the teacher. Number 3, curriculum process should stimulate the learner's desire to develop the cognitive, affective, psychomotor domains and each individual. Number 4, in the choice of methods, learning and teaching style should be considered. Number 5, every method or process should result to learning outcomes, which can be described as cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. Number 6, flexibility in the use of the process or methods should be considered. An effective process will always result to learning outcomes. Number 7, both teaching and learning are the two important processes in the implementation of the curriculum. And we come now to curriculum as a product. Besides viewing curriculum as content that is to be transmitted or process that gives action using the content, it has also been viewed as the product. In other words, product is what the students desire to achieve as a learning outcome. The product from the curriculum is a student equipped with the knowledge, skills, and values to function effectively and efficiently. The real purpose of education is to bring about significant changes in students' pattern of behavior. It is important that any statement of objectives or intended outcomes of the school should be a statement of changes to take place in the students. Central to the approach is the formulation of behavioral objectives stated as intended learning outcomes or desired products so that Content and teaching methods may be organized and the results evaluated. Products of learning are operationalized as knowledge, skills, and values. Curriculum product is expressed in the form of outcomes which are referred to as the achieved learning outcomes. There may be several desired learning outcomes, but if the process is not successful, then no learning outcomes will be achieved. These achieved learning outcomes are demonstrated by the person who has meaningful experiences in the curriculum. All of those are results of planning, content, and processes in the curriculum.
We come now to curriculum as a product. So as a product, curriculum should be a set of defining documents that describe what an entering and exciting student should be capable of. They should also describe the related areas to be experienced within the course, as well as the intended results or outcomes of having experienced these activities. This product should also include structure parameters such as time spent on tasks, studying, and conducting research, as well as book materials and available services. If a course or program's curriculum is a part of a larger context, the documentation should include a description of a relation or integration. At the same time, curriculum should not be so strictly specified that different individuals teaching the course may not be able to adapt and provide the same outcomes if the classrooms, lab equipment, time arrangement, text, or even teaching modalities or online versus face-to-face are all different. Curriculum should be a narrative map of where students should go in a certain aspects, but it should be also inclusive and mindful of many different alternative pathways between the start and the finish of the journey.
That would be all. Thank you for listening and God bless us all.